Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hawthorne. Thank you very much for joining us today on a Veterans Benefits Seminar. We have a number of very interesting presentations that are going to cover a wide range of issues that will be of interest to you. Some will be more or less relevant, but please, we will also have a number of exhibitors who are in the next set of rooms over. So you are welcome to listen to the presentations in here, and we will also be providing time for you to go next door and talk to the individual exhibitors and presenters on topics that may be of particular interest to you. Okay, we're going to start with our other presentations. We are first going to ask Mr. Adam Barnes, who is the LA District Supervisor for DAV, or Disabled American Veterans, to come up and give a presentation.
So we're a nonprofit organization, like I said. We've been around for 97 years. We've been credited to act as Congress to represent the veterans and their benefits. We're just like a lawyer. We don't charge you what the lawyer does, but I can't get you out of a DUI case. It's only for VA and VA benefits only, okay? Our whole goal is get the veterans what they deserve when they return home. Give them the full rights to live their life as full as somebody didn't serve before. That is our whole goal. Right? We give them fulfilling lives and benefits. We have different programs in the DAV. I represent the benefits side of the house. Will you come to me or my coworkers in any of the states, in any of the areas? We have offices in Manila, Puerto Rico, anywhere you go in the DAV. We're here to help you in your claims. We also have a legislative side that's in Washington, D.C. So any resolutions, any bills, and any arguments, that's what they do. They go to Capitol Hill and they fight every day for rights. Three main ones that we're fighting today is better care at the caregiving at the VAs. As you see, the president signed a new bill for health care at the VA facilities. That's the DAV and other service officers from organizations are doing that. The other one is equal opportunity for female veterans at the care programs and at the benefits. And lastly is the one that is near dear for a lot of people's hearts is caregiving program for veterans. Right now the VA is caregiving for veterans that are post 9/11. So that means any individual that served entered after 9/11, the VA will pay for a caregiver to go to their house to take care of them. Korea, Vietnam, anyone else is not covered. So we're fighting Congress to change that. We were just at Congress this last February, and Congress is playing like a used car salesman. They're making deals. They said, okay, we'll lift the ban. We'll do all ages. But we're going to do a stipulation. The law covers right now injuries and illnesses that suffered. Well, Congress would say, okay, we'll open the ban, but your illness and injury had to suffer in Vietnam, or in service as you were. So say an example, a Vietnam veteran goes to Vietnam, suffers diabetes, 30 years later, the diabetes made him lose his left leg. As of right now, that caregiving program would not cover that. You would have to lose his leg in Vietnam. So we're now back on the table fighting Congress to change those too. So those are the things what organizations do. We want to make you have a fulfilling life. We want you to feel that there is nothing wrong with you. We want you to be equal as everyone else in the world. All right. We're also going to talk about disability claims, benefits, and so on else. So disability ratings rated severity from 0 to 100%. We all know, we all hear the rumors. Oh, that's VA math, it's funny math, that's weird math. It's a VA compensation. It's your whole body that's 100% piece of a pie. So the VA says if you had twin brothers, there was two of you, one served, one didn't. The VA compensation makes up the fact that you will not earn the same amount of money in the workforce that your brother did that never served. So that's what the compensation says. It's making up what your disabilities may lose in the workforce when it comes to making money. That's how they do the compensation. Generally presented is 20 years. So you get service connected for 20 years. Say you get service connected for a back at 10% for 20 years. After 20 years, the VA cannot go after you for that disability. It's protected. No matter what you do, no matter how many times you poke that bear will never bite you and take that disability away. 10 years, they can sever it. So you have a 0, you file a claim up to 10 years, that back is at 40%, up to 10 years, they could go and reduce it. Say a new exam says it needs to be reduced. They have the opportunity to reduce it. After 10, they can't. But up to 20, 10 years, they could take it away. Say your back is healed. You took the magic potion and the back is gone. 10 years, they could take that disability away. 20 years, they can't do anything. They can't sever it, they can't reduce it, they can't do anything. All right, although disabilities are presumptives, herbicides, Agent Orange, former prisoner of war, radiations, mustard gas, chronic diseases, Gulf War illnesses at Camp Lejeune. Mustard gas, they did not use mustard gas in your gas chambers. I'm sorry, they didn't. We see claims all the time, well, I had mustard gas, I went to the gas chamber for basic training. That's not mustard gas. All right, that's a different kind of gas, you can't file for those. There's only certain stipulations to certain areas that the VA recognizes for mustard gas. Same thing as radiation exposures, only certain places. If you're an x-ray technician for 3 years at Balboa Hospital in San Diego and you did x-rays for 30,000 patients, that's not radiation exposure. Okay, they have a set standard for that. Gulf War illnesses, since there is a current war going on, the president has lifted the ban. Literally, Gulf War would have ended last November. All claims for Gulf War would have been ended last November. Since there is an active war going on, the president has lifted that. There is no cutoff as of right now for Gulf War and burn pit registry claims. They're all linked together now. So you continue to file it until the president says no more. Camp Lejeune, there's only recognized as 8 issues. They're still going through registry and waiting for the federal registry to move forward with more case studies. Burn pit registry, they're still doing registrations and still going through their studies. And as of right now, it's a blanket respiratory condition. That's all it's blanketed. So until they get enough evidence of what's going on, it's hard to say what it is. There is a slight rumor the VA is also looking at, well, Congress, I don't want to say VA, but Congress and DOD is looking at maybe what was going on in the dust in Iraq and Afghanistan during convoy operations. Those minerals in that could have been. Could be, it means a lot of things. Special benefits, automobile grant, automobile adaptive equipment, special housing, clothing allowance. Automobile grant is where your disabilities need a vehicle or you need a wheelchair adaptation. You have 2 different vehicle grants. You have a one-time buyer where you have to buy a car, so like a minivan, stuff like that. What you do is you go to a dealer, you get quotes, you get paperwork, and you take that to the VA and you file the claim. You buy a one-time car. That vehicle, say you need adaptation, you need a steering wheel changed, or you need a lift installed, or you need to set it where you could push your wheelchair into the van and drive that way. Then you can file adaptives to that vehicle. Once again, you got to get dealer prices, quotes, and stuff like that through the VA. The special adaptive goes through to the VHA side. They have to file it, they do their quotes, they send out construction sides, and they move forward with that. Clothing allowance, it has to be a brace that could tear your clothes. Say if you have a knee brace that has metal in it or Velcro that tears your clothes or rips it, or if you have kind of skin lotion that stains your clothes, or you have blue jeans, now they're white, or you had a white shirt, now they're black because of the chemicals. You take those claims to the prosthetics department at the VA hospital closest to you and you file a claim there. The degree of disability, wartime service, limited income. That's for non-service connected pension. So there's 2 types of claims. There's compensation and there's pension. Compensation is for your injuries that you suffered while in service. The VA and Congress and DOD said, yes, you suffered these injuries in these service. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, if you're running Fortune 500 or you're the president. Your compensation is your compensation. That's what you're getting money on. Pension is where you come where it's income based. So if you're making a certain amount of money, you may not be qualified for non-service connected pension because they're recognizing those injuries, but they can't link it to service. You have to be active duty for 90 years and at least 1 day in a wartime period. 1 day in a wartime period, and they go by income. Every year, you have to verify to the VA your income. Social Security, you win the lotto, you go to Hollywood Park and win on a racetrack. You have to tell the VA so they make sure you don't get an overpayment. This is the VA's and veterans' most overpayment claims that we have. Most of our debt collections, our debt waivers and overpayments is deal with pensions, people not reporting it properly. All right, veterans proficiency in federal employment and job placements. So there's voc rehab. Voc rehab is when you are 20% or higher, and they qualify for rehab, and your disabilities get you into work in the workforce. So you get in with a counselor, they do your sessions, they said, okay, Let's wrap you out. You want to be, I don't know, an engineer. An engineer needs this degree. Okay, let's track a plan for you. Okay, you need some on-the-job training, or you have the degrees. Okay, let's get you into a workforce study that you could just get the credits and get the OJT environment and stuff. So that's a voc rehab to get you in those training programs. Montgomery GI Bill, I think we have an educational rep here, but all these individuals here, you qualify. The best thing that you can do is if you want to use any of these bills, you go to accredited college, not DeVry, ITT, or anything like that, because the VA more likely is not recognizing them. I think the VA just said no to DeVry. But if you go into a Cal State school, community college, or anything that has a vet center on campus, you see the duty experts, and they will talk to you and guide you in the right direction to go for these. Home loans, same thing. You go to the bank, go through e-benefits. If you want to do a home loan and you know you're service connected and you qualify for it, instead of making your way all the way down to the VA federal building in Wilshire, fighting that traffic and fighting the people in public contact, you go on e-benefits and you can print out the letters you need to take to get your home loan. It is all right there. Same letters that you will go to fight the traffic, you can pull on e-benefits, take it to the loan agency that you're asking to do the loan, and they'll walk you through their way. Regional office, especially adaptive housing grant, same thing. You go to us, the regional office, or any service county rep, and they'll help you through the claim on the benefit side. Improvements to your home will go through the health side, because you're going to need doctor's letters saying yes, his disabilities or her disabilities need to have a sink lowered or a doorway expanded, or they need a ramp, or we need to remove the stairs and put one of those lift chairs that you sit down and it raises you to upstairs. Those things will all go through the hospital because they need the doctor's signature saying yes, that's what's needed. You have state benefits and federal benefits. Depending on where you are or where you live, each state has different benefits. So you would have to look into it. California benefits, a lot of things fall under CalVets or CDVA. Either state fisher's license, hunting license, state veterans homes. CalVets here has about 8 homes throughout the state of California. The biggest one we already know about because we saw it on the news about, a month ago now with the shootings. That is the biggest one that the Cal State and California has for homes up in the northern area. Each one is set for certain issues. There's some that hold full access where it's for Alzheimer's, full care, and then there's some that's independent living, or there's some that just focus on mental health issues. So each home has its own requirements, their own specialty, or just care living. And you could always go to calvets.com and you'll look up those housing and it'll tell you where they are, contact numbers, and what they specialize in. Local benefits, property tax, and additional benefits. These are all mostly when you're 100% permanent total. What I mean by 100% permanent total is that, one, your disabilities are not going to be changed by the VA. The VA says these disabilities are not going to change, they're permanent. We're going to mark you permanent, we're not going to schedule any future exams, we're not going to go after you. So that permanent total, you get the base ID card, so you're able to come to LA Air Force Base, to shop at the commissary, to PX, get on base. You get dental for the VA, you get all these benefits, a local property exam, DMV registration fees gets waived. All those forms are able to get on the e-benefits, the letters that you need to take to the base, the letters you need to take to DMV, all those are there for you to get there and go where you need to go to get your benefits. Now, there's new programs that the VA has created or Congress and has approved and the VA has moved forward with. For claims process is a DRC, it's a decision-ready claims. The decision-ready claims are promised to be done in 30 to 60 days. All right? The one thing about that is that you as a veteran cannot just go to your local area, file paperwork, or go online, print out a 526, fill it out, and mail it to the VA. You can't do that. DRC is, everything is ready for the VA. You have to go get your exams, you have to get the evidence from the doctors, you have to do all the legwork, and you have to see a veteran service organization. You can't do county reps, you can't go to a local vet center and he files. He or she more likely will not have the credentials because it has to be direct uploaded through the VA system. So you have to see a service officer and you give everything to the VA and say, rate my case. And all the VA says, they look at the evidence and say yes or no. If for some reason you can't get exams, then there's process as a VSO puts in what is called an intent to file and requests the VA to get those exams. They do it, and then you still have to do the process of a decision-ready claim. Another program is the appeal program. Right now, the appeal program, looking at the regional levels and BVA level, is over 400,000 claims behind. For the veterans that are here now, who has pending appeals that's been in the system for a while? Okay, they're trying to work on this. What the RAMP program is a rapid appeal program. It's going to be in effect, full effect, February 1st of next year. But what they're creating now is pretty much a presumptive, getting attacked of it. As of November this year, some veterans should be getting opt-in letters where they're saying, hey, you have this appeal going, it's pretty old, you have an opportunity to have somebody look at your case and have a decision in 120 days. As of right now, there's two ways that they're going through. There's here at the local level where it's a higher level review, and what that means is you know wholeheartedly that you have all the evidence in the VA. The VA has it all, they're just ignoring it. Okay, put in a higher level review, and they act on it. They cannot look at anything else you submit. In a higher level review, you do have one opportunity for a telephone conference. It's not a hearing, it's a conference. During that conference, you cannot bring evidence in, like the old versions where when you had a hearing, you bring stuff in and the judge or rating officer could look at it. You can't. That conference is just a conference. As of right now, the conferences are only for the higher level review and the decision review officers in Washington, D.C. So if you have a service rep, you'll go to the service rep's office and they'll do a conference call. If you don't have a service rep, you work it out where that rating officer will call you directly from home, and then you have the conversation with them of why that evidence is in there, and they grant that. The second one is a supplemental claim or supplemental lane. That's where you submit it, and you have 30 days to give us that evidence that you think. Say you need a medical opinion from a doctor. You submit a letter on Tuesday, say today, April 28th. You have 30 days from April 28th to get that evidence before that rating officer will act on that. That's the two lanes as of right now that's being worked at the local level for a ramp. As of February 1st of next year, it now will open up for BVA level. So now you as an option, as a veteran, you get that decision letter. Do I want to stay local level with the ramp letter? Or do I want to file a notice of disagreement and go straight to the board? Now you have an option to go straight to the board. And up there you have three lanes. One, I want a hearing. There is no longer a travel board hearing once this comes in effect. Travel board is going away. It's going to be video conferences only. So you ask for a video conference, they put you in that lane. If you don't want a hearing and you're not submitting evidence, there's a lane. So you have asking hearing, no hearing with no new evidence, and then you have the third lane, no hearing with new evidence, wait the 30 days. And that'll come in effect February 1st of next year. So there's multiple options to get this RAMP program and the appeals backlogged cleaned up. Who's eligible for it? If you have a notice of disagreement in the system, you're eligible for it. If you filed a Form 9, you're eligible for it. If you received a letter from the board that your case was remanded, you're eligible for it. You're not eligible if you have a DRO hearing scheduled. You're not eligible if you got a letter from the VA say your case is on the docket of the judge. You're not eligible for the RAMP. That means you're already set for a decision or for a hearing. You cannot elect the RAMP. Right now, the RAMP is only for service connections and compensation claims only. No pensions, no home adaptive. Right now, we're having a discussion with the VA, and we brought it up at our last VSO meeting, the category of DIC. If it's on appeal, are they verifying service connection, cause of death? Because technically that's a compensation claim by standard, so we're seeing if that would fall into the RAMP. Once again, thank you for attending this seminar. You have any questions? There's a DAV website for our national website. You're able to email things through there. I have business cards for the office. at our table next door. I also have the times and hours of our office and our contact numbers. I have a generic office card because we work by claim numbers. So whatever your claim number, your social is how you're going to be assigned our reps in our office. Okay, so that's why you're going to have a generic number and you'll be assigned the first time you contact us. Thank you and you have a great day.
Thank you, Adam. Our next speaker is going to be Emmett O'Meara, who is the Acting Director of the LA VA Regional Office.
A little bit about myself first, because I always have to kind of pinch myself to realize what I'm doing and what's going on, because I'm just literally a farm kid, pig farmer from Minnesota, and somehow I got here to California. I got there via the Navy, and I've enjoyed every minute ever since. And I feel very, very fortunate to be before you here today, but also to be in the position I am to help many, many veterans. And I'm gonna start out also by saying Adam stole some of what I was gonna say. So I'll double up on some of it, but I also want to just give a little, if you will, more of a personal side of VA as well. We actually are one of the newest agencies. We didn't have a secretary until the Reagan administration. So in 1986, I believe, is when we first had our secretary. And I say that because, although I can't confirm this, but I think that happened because of a lot of, if you will, disrespect, dismissal, and poor treatment of a lot of Vietnam veterans. And I know some of you are here today. And I think since that point, we have continued to be a very evolving agency. And case in point, Adam alluded to it earlier, all of the disabilities that are presumptive disabilities due to Agent Orange. That was a big deal, still is a big deal. All the other disabilities that are presumptive due to Gulf War, due to radiation, it all has been an evolution. But one of the main pieces of that evolution has been a partnership with our Veteran Service Officer community, meaning DAV, American Legion, VFW, Purple Heart, AMVETS. I think you're familiar with a lot of these. I'm an American Legion member. Is anyone else? Okay. I'm going to do my favorite poll then right now. When you get your monthly magazine, please raise your hand if the first thing you read are the jokes at the back of the magazine. Yep. We're all human, right? But those are very important partnerships that we have. We also have very important partnerships with our congressional folks. Another example of that is literally the improvement in the appeals process that Adam was speaking about earlier. We've often will say about various things, oh, it literally will take an act of Congress for that. Well, guess what? That's what was needed to improve our appeals process. By law, we had to follow a very old, very clunky format through a lot of partnership, collaboration with VSOs and the folks on the Hill. We were able to come up with what's going to be a much better solution to filing an appeal. And it'll give folks a much quicker outcome and hopefully a more transparent outcome as well, or transparent process, I should say. But some of that's in the future. So what have you done for me lately, you might say, right? Well, for me anyway, I've been in the VA for about 15 years. And I started as a claims processor, and I'm now in the position I occupy as assistant director. One of the biggest shifts I have seen in VA occurred starting in September of 2014. And that's when we as an agency really started to get out and do more with the community, which of course involves partnerships with the community. So since that time, we've been doing multiple town halls at different medical centers, different locations like this, many, many town halls, many outreach activities. And what that has done for us has been able to connect with veterans in a way that we hadn't been able to connect before. And it's been a great improvement. I go many, many places, and I at least always recognize faces, and many times I'm able to put names to those. As I see you at future events, please come up, introduce yourself, and talk to me. If there's something I can do to help, I will certainly do so. The only thing I always request is if you call me, please remind me where I first met you, so I can try to put a face to a name. It is helpful. But that started in September of 14, all of that, more of us going out into the community trying to make connections. At that time, I think you probably heard about the backlog, which was considered any claim pending greater than 125 days. Well, at one point, we were over 600,000 claims in the backlog. That's just backlog, period. Today, we have approximately, I think it's 350,000 claims pending nationwide. About 74,000 of those are in the backlog, and most claims are all completed within 125 days. There are some cases that unfortunately take more time than others because of various reasons. However, we've made great strides. And on average right now, a claim takes 100 days to get completed. So compare that to 2 years, 4 years, 6 months. You know, we've come a long way. Another area in which we've come a long way, has anybody tried to call the toll-free number, 1-800-827-1000? Ever called that in the past? Okay. Right around that September 2014 time frame, you probably had a tough time getting through. And in FY17, last fiscal year, it was 0.1%, I believe, of the calls sent to that line were dropped, which was drastically lower than what it ever was before. In other words, just about everybody was getting through, and the average wait time was about a minute. So we've made some strides in trying to communicate and trying to understand the needs of all veterans. So what's next? Well, what is next? Through our partnerships with the VSOs, congressionals, heck, even within VA, with our partnerships with the cemetery and with the medical centers, we're just continuing to get stronger. Because we know we have room for improvement in many, many areas. So we don't run from that, we don't duck from that. We just want to take it as what it is, figure out a way to better it, improve it. We owe it to not only the veterans, but in all the future veterans that will come, some of whom aren't even born yet. So please understand that as we, as an agency, tackle things, we're tackling it with the best interest of the veteran at heart. We sometimes have challenges that we have to overcome that are very, very frustrating as well. Whether it's budget, whether it's law, whether it's regulation, we want that positive outcome for you. One of our mantras is, grant if you can, deny if you must. And when I tell that to people, it's always all capitals for grant if you can. Deny if you must is in lowercase, because we don't want that outcome for anybody if we can avoid it. We have to, of course, abide by the law and the regulation, so we do what we can to maximize those benefits. But over the last 2 years, we've actually done a really good job of that. At the end of FY14, the amount of benefits paid out, or this is across the country that is, was $63.5 billion. By the end of FY17, it was about $78 billion. So, about a $15 billion increase across the country. $1.5 billion in the LA jurisdiction. So a pretty big chunk when you consider how big our country is. And we know that we have of all the counties in the country, nobody has more veterans than LA. So at our office of approximately 325 people, we take what we do very seriously because we want you to have the best service that we can give you. Likewise, we want you to have the best benefit that we can give you. And we'll fall a time or two, but we'll get up and we'll keep pushing forward so that we can do the best that we can for you. So with that, I say thank you. And I have some brochures that, if you don't mind, Kyle, I'd like to leave them at the table there. Okay. Other than that, that is all that I had to say since Adam took so much of my punch. So.
Our next speaker will be Micaela Montoya, who is from the Greater LA VA Healthcare Outreach Center.
Hi everyone, my name is Micaela, Mika for short. I work in community relations. I was in the Army for 8 years. I was originally a supply clerk, and then when I went over to Iraq, our jobs were tasked out to civilian contractors, so I became a military police overnight. I served there for 8 months, and I got back and wanted to help veterans, wanted to specifically help women veterans and all veterans, and that's how I started off the VA. I'm going to be talking about healthcare. If you guys are familiar with the VA, the three is like 3 parts. There's the healthcare side, the benefits side, and the cemetery. I learned that once I came into the VA, so all of our systems sometimes aren't connected, so sometimes that's why things get like confused. So keep that in mind when like you're doing your claims and stuff like that. Get your medical records from the healthcare. They have access to that, but it's just something to keep in mind. So in order to qualify for the VA, you have to serve for 2 years active duty and get out with honorable or general discharge, or you can be service connected and you can qualify for the VA that way. If you were a survivor of military sexual trauma, we'll also see you for any military sexual trauma, anything military sexual trauma related, and there's no statute of limitations on that because the VA recognizes that some vets may have experienced that and didn't feel comfortable coming forward, and eventually down the road they might. And you can come to the VA anytime for that. The VA started a Veterans Choice Program. Did you guys ever get a white card in the mail, but like really no explanation about what it was for? Yeah, me too. So when I got it, I didn't know what it was for. I'll try to explain it to you. What it means is you can go and see any doctor in your community if it's pre-approved through the VA, if your appointment takes more than 30 days, or if you live more than 40 miles away. And all you have to do is call 866-606-8198, 866-606-8198, and that's the Veterans Choice Program. That white card is so you can take that to the private physician in your area, so you don't have to wait more than 30 days anymore to see a doctor, or if you live more than 40 miles. A lot of people get it confused because they think it's and. A lot of people think that it has to be more than 30 days and 40 miles, but it's not. It's one or the other to qualify. But make sure to call that number first so that you do get reimbursed for it and you don't end up having to pay for that. The VA's, we have a women's clinic, and the women's clinic, we do OBGYN, mammograms, and we also do maternity care. The VA isn't equipped to deliver babies yet, and I just had a baby. I don't know if I would want to have the baby at the VA, so I think that's kind of a good thing. But they send you out to a private position in the community, and you get maternity care in the community, and the VA covers all of that. It's really great. The VA also has an OEF, OIF, OND care management, where they help you with assistance with anything during your time of service if you're an OEF, OIF veteran. When you get discharged from the military, like I said, there's different ways to qualify, but if you were in country in OEF, OIF, OND, then from your date of discharge, you have 5 years of healthcare at the VA. And because you have to go through a means test, some other vets have to go through that, but if you served in that time, then you don't have to do that for 5 years. Let me see. So there's VOC Rehab. Have you guys heard of VOC Rehab? Okay, so VOC Rehab, there's different forms of it, but one of the forms that the VA has on the benefit side is if you're service connected, you can go to VOC Rehab and it's employment related. So, and they'll pay you to retrain for anything that you're interested in, but it's employment oriented. So like similar, like with the GI Bill, you can use it for whatever you like as long as you're going towards a degree, but it's your decision. But with VOC Rehab, you have to be service connected and it has to be employment oriented. So you can't, unless there's like an abundance of jobs for like painting, that's not something you can use it for, but it's something really good to take advantage of. We have TWE, have you guys heard of that? Transitional Work Experience. So if you're looking for employment or you want to get back into the employment world, but you're not ready, maybe you've been unemployed for a while, Transitional Work Experience is kind of like a paid work experience that you get, and it's therapeutic. You get paid for it, and it doesn't like affect, if you have like unemployment because it's therapy, it doesn't affect your unemployment. And the good thing about it is you get federal experience. You can put that on your resume. And some of those jobs can lead to permanent positions. We also have work study, which they're currently looking for to fill. If you're in school right now, it's like a paid internship through the government, and they place you in different positions. And I think it's minimum wage pay, but that's also a way so you can get federal employment on your resume. It's called Work Study Program, and that's through HR. If you're interested in that, the point of contact is Brian Cole, and he's in Human Resources, and he's constantly looking to fill the work study program. We also have the VA Home Loan. The VA Home Loan is where you can buy a house with no money down. It's a really great program. They check the house before you go, and they inspect it to make sure that you're to make sure that you're getting a good deal, and it's just a really good program. You get to buy a house with no money down. We also have a homeless area where we help veterans who are homeless, and there's different tiers for homelessness. Like if you're unemployed, they'll help you with getting employment for homelessness. And there's a new program, well, it's not that new, but it's called VASH, VA Supportive Housing. So what that is, it's a partnership with HUD. And it's similar to Section 8. So the VA is partnered with HUD, and they give out, if you're a homeless veteran with children especially, then they'll give you a VASH voucher, and you can go into the community and use this voucher to it's like Section 8, except for it's going through VASH. So you're kind of alleviating all of the wait time that you might experience with HUD, and you also get a case manager to help you through whatever you may be experiencing during your homelessness period. That's pretty much all I had for the homeless side. For the VA healthcare side. We have these open houses. They're where we're providing healthcare benefits, resources. You can apply for your VA benefits right there in person. You can enroll in the VA there. We have physicians on hold where we're doing physicals, like on the spot. There's a job fair, resource, food, and the next one coming up is on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th in East LA. We're gonna have food, entertainment. Majority of them have food and entertainment and everything. You could bring the whole family. It's really nice. And that's May 5th in East LA at the East LA VA Clinic. The next one is May 9th in Oxnard at the Oxnard VA Clinic. If you can't make either of those, then there's one in downtown LA, not too far from here at the downtown LA VA, and that's May 16th. And then the last one is going to be on May 23rd, and that's in Sepulveda at the Sepulveda VA. Recently, the VA we just got a $24 million grant through the city, through newly passed Prop H, where we're going to be rehabilitating the facilities on our campus to provide housing for homeless veterans, which is amazing because they'll have access to all the VA services right there, and they can live there, and that's something that's new. It's a big partnership with the city, and we're looking to expand it more. Do you guys have any questions for healthcare? No? Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
I think we're early, but I'm the next speaker, so we're just going to move on so we can get to lunch and a lot of good times. How's that? I'm Tom Ruck. I'm your director at Los Angeles National Cemetery. It's a pleasure to be here, and hi, everyone. Hey, there we go. That's good. I'm the fourth speaker so far this morning. I just want to talk about the VA itself. Before 1986, when President Reagan, former governor of California, elevated the Veterans Administration to a department or cabinet level, we were just an administration. We were the VA back then. And that name has stuck forever and ever and ever. And there's only 3 entities within the VA current. You heard Emmett speak about benefits. Mikhail just talked about hospitals and healthcare. And on the side, nobody wants to talk about the cemetery. Okay, but those are the only 3 entities we have in the Department of Veteran Affairs as we speak. We all call it the VA. Let's keep calling it the VA because it's easy. But now we are a cabinet level. We've been that way since 1986, and I don't think we're ever going to go back from there. So it's a pleasure to do that. Let's talk about the cemetery for a little bit. We have 135 cemeteries in the United States that are nationally run. There are 4 types of cemeteries that are available. Many of you are familiar with the American Battle Monument cemeteries over in Europe, mainly for those who fought in World War I and World War II who were laid to rest on the battlefield. Those cemeteries are what we call closed. You can no longer be buried in them. You had to have passed there. Right after the wars, many of the soldiers who were laid to rest were disinterred and brought back to their family members here across the ocean. But those are pretty much sacred ground or hallowed ground, if you would. And if you've had the honor and pleasure to walk among that land, you know it's something very special. Something just comes over you when you walk and you feel the spirit of that commitment and dedication to America and what they fought for. So that's the ABMC groups. You also have the state veteran cemeteries. In California, we have 4. They're trying to get a 5th one in Orange County. And if anybody lives in Irvine, please go vote for whichever way you want to vote for that cemetery. As a federal employee, I can't tell you which way to vote. I can only encourage you to vote on June 2nd for a cemetery in Irvine. Okay? Pardon, sir? What would you like me to say, sir? You know, I hope you got the message. Because I really hope if you didn't. Then we also have tribal cemeteries. Those are very unique and very new to the National Cemetery Administration cadre of cemeteries. We realize there is a special niche for those. We don't have that many across the country. I think we're at about 28 of those right now, but they're tribal cemeteries to signify that special group of veterans that served our country. How many people do we lay to rest a year? We lay to rest about 125,000 veterans and or their spouses a year. That's only about 20% of those eligible. We provide about 500,000 headstones because as a veteran, you are guaranteed a headstone for yourself if you are laid to rest in a private cemetery. Procedure is still the same. You go do it, you fill out the paperwork, they ship it to the cemetery of your choice, and you have it. But what do we provide? And we get that question a lot, and then I'm going to go back to the first question that we should ask always. But what we provide is a place for you to be for the rest of your life. We promise to take care of it in pristine shrine-like status. We will make sure that nothing ever happens to it. We will give you a headstone. We will provide a burial cartage, if you would, of a bugle playing taps, flag folding, and rifle volleys, if it is so desired by you and or your family. The one question that we constantly get at the National Cemetery when people come in after a loved one has died is, we don't know what Dad wanted. What should we do? Or, wow, Mom and I never talked about what she wanted or what happens. It could be a little bit of a morbid subject, but let me just say this. Talk about it while you are still here, please, with the loved one that's going to take care of you after you're gone. Let them know your wishes, because I can guarantee you, you think that if you avoid it by not talking about it now, it is a whole lot of mess on your family if they don't know. Let them know, hey, I want to be cremated, or I want to be in a casket. I would love to have a rifle volley. By God, you better have that flag folding for me. I love being a veteran. And play those taps, because I'm going to hear them. Let your family know what's going on. Talk about it. The one thing that you need to have, or you should know where it's at, is your DD-214 or any type of discharge paper you received. You have that discharge paper, you let your family know what's going on, have a good time. You're in good shape, and everybody will say thank you. That is the main thing we want you to know. Everything that we provide, the opening and closing of the land, the headstone, presidential memorial certificates, is all at no charge to you for the veteran. It is our pleasure at the National Cemetery Administration to say thank you one last time on behalf of a grateful nation as we lay you to rest. There is no bigger honor than the staff and I have at Los Angeles National Cemetery and the other 134 cemeteries to say thank you. Yes, it's a sad time. Yes, family is mourning and grieving, but we feel a special sense of pride to say thank you. After all, you wore the uniform of our country. It's the least we can do for you moving forward in that regard. In regards to Los Angeles National Cemetery, as you know, we have been full for quite a long time. We have almost 90,000 residents, as I call them. They don't talk to me much. Occasionally they come out and say hi, but not that often. Ha ha. But we are getting more space. We are in the midst of a building. The concrete's been poured, the rebar's in. Right under the 405, if you're familiar with the property, we have about 15 acres between the Jackie Robinson Stadium and the 405 that we are constructing 90,000 niches. What is a niche? A niche is an area to hold 2 urns that have cremated remains for the spouse and the veteran. That should be open about a year from now, and that should accommodate LA for about the next 40 or 50 years. Because as Emmett mentioned, and that's something we need to take pride in, we have the largest concentration of veterans of anywhere else in the country right here in LA. It's amazing. And that's why so many people hold these resource fairs, and that's why the American Legions and the VFWs are out there day in and day out trying to make sure we all know what's going on and the education that we have. That's why we at the NCA said, hey, you know, you may be tired of driving out there to Riverside. We need to get you back to LA to this side of the 57, this side of the city, whatever it's going to take. So about a year from now, that'll be open. And we look to conduct about 3,000 services a year is the total plan at this particular point in time. But we will finally be reopened. You know, because LA National Cemetery goes back to 1889 when it was opened, and the conflict that we have, the oldest, we have somebody from the Boxer Rebellion laid to rest at LA National Cemetery. We have 6,600 veterans from World War I laid at that cemetery, and the number just grow from there. So it is truly a treasure. Come out and visit it. We're here to take care of you. Cedric and I will be over at the table in the next room after we speak. If you have any questions or want to know about anything, hey, come on over and talk to us. We're more than happy to have it. Emmett's going to be here for a while. Michaela, I think, is going to be here for a while. We're all here to help you. We're your VA, we're here to help you. And again, if you have any questions, just let me know and we'll be over there. Thanks, guys. Good to see you today. Appreciate it.
I would like to have Lieutenant Colonel Tom Lasser come up. Tom is a commissioner with the LA County Military and Veterans Affairs Commission.
Good morning. My name's Tom Lasser. I'm a retired soldier, Vietnam veteran, Army helicopter pilot by trade. But before I go any further, how many former soldiers are in the audience? Hooah! How about the Air Force? Navy? Coast Guard? Any Marines? And for those of you that didn't raise your hand, raise your right hand and repeat after me. Okay. Okay, I know, you're not going for that. We can't bribe it. But I'm the only thing that's standing between you and the bribe of today, which is the In-N-Out burger that's waiting for you out there. How many people here have heard of Patriotic Hall? That is the home of the Los Angeles Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, MVA, Military and Veterans Affairs, and I happen to be a commissioner along with 9 other folks on a commission there that deals with Veterans Affairs to include military activities in the county of Los Angeles. Los Angeles, being the largest county in the United States, has probably one of the most robust and formal veterans commissions in the United States, if not anywhere else. The idea of the Military and Veterans Department is to be a liaison, a buffer between you and your benefits. A lot of people get out of the military. There's a lot of confusion over who's what, where. They'll organize it, sift it down, and even help you with your veterans application for benefits. In the next room there, we have a table with 3 former members of the military that if you have a question about your disability or a question about what's owed you or a question about your DD-214, stop by and please see them and they'll help you through that. Now there's out offices. There's one in San Pedro, I think there's one in Inglewood and other parts of the county, so you don't have to drive into downtown LA to Patriotic Hall. But remember that LA County is a leader in veterans affairs and supporting veterans. Please share that with other folks. There's some material about Patriotic Hall and the Veterans Affairs program there. And I also want to make one comment before I get out of the way of your rush to get an In-N-Out burger, is that the city of Hawthorne is one of the few communities, a city, that has a Veterans Commission. So if you live in Hawthorne, utilize them. If you live in another community and they don't have it, check with LA County before you go to the VA or CalVets to sort out some of your problems, because they can expedite the process, especially filling out the paper. One last question. How many people here have tried to fill out the paperwork for a veteran's disability? Well, it's tough. You can't do it by yourself. You need to go to a veteran service office like LA County or like the VFW or a military or the Purple Heart or somebody like that to have them fill out the paperwork, because you'll screw it up and it'll go into the big pile of mystery and you'll never see it. So go to one of those organizations and have them fill out the paperwork for you. It'll make your life easy. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
we're going to have one really quick announcement and then we are going to release for lunch. There was one point that was not made that you need to hear, so I've asked Michaela to come back up and give that to you real quickly.
Okay, hi. Okay, so this isn't in the VA healthcare books. There's a dental program. It's a pilot program. It was implemented about 2 years ago. If you qualify for VA healthcare, then you qualify for this program. It's called VADIP, Veterans Affairs Dental Insurance Program. And your family qualifies for it too, and that's through Delta or MetLife. So you can see a dentist in the community that accepts Delta or MetLife, and the VA covers it. You have to pay a copay, you have to pay a monthly fee, but it's a service that you guys qualify for, because a lot of veterans always ask for dental, so I wanted to make sure to mention that. And secondly, there's My Healthy Vet. Have you guys heard of My Healthy Vet? So the incredible thing with My Healthy Vet is, did you know when you email your doctor, that email is submitted into your medical records? So if you ever have like an issue or a concern or anything that you want to address to your doctor, whatever you put in there, it becomes part of your medical record. Somebody, a vet just came up to me after, and he was like having a concern. So that's something just to keep in mind. Whenever you email your doctor through My Healthy Vet, that becomes part of your medical records. So if you guys have any questions for the VA DIP or for My Healthy Vet, you have to get certified. You can do that at the open houses that are coming up, or you can go to the VA at any time. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask Diane Brown, who is the head of the Park and Rec Department and runs the Senior Center, come up and give us a couple of minutes of information about what they do over there.
Hello, everybody. We're right next door, the Senior Center, and we're open to seniors 50 years and older. We say at 50 you get an AARP card, or at least notified by AARP, so we consider you a senior. And first off, I'd like to say that if you're a senior, you can go to any senior center you want to. You try them out till you find one that you like. And the seniors are there. We have a pool, we have a billiard room with 4 tables. We have a computer room with 5 computers and a printer. We have a sewing room with 6 brand new sewing machines. I don't use them. I can't even think about what you call them. And we also have exercise room. We have Tai Chi every Wednesday from 10 till 11. It's held over in the sports center because they've outgrown our back room. We have line dance every Thursday from 9:30 till 11. And all of this is free to the seniors. Volunteers come in and volunteer to do our classes. So we have 10 classes going now that just started for exercise for arthritis. So a specialist comes in and does an hour of exercising for arthritis. We're going to have 3 classes coming from Hawthorne Memorial Hospital. The girl that does the PR work, she's bringing in nutrition classes, 3 one-hour nutrition classes, and they'll be getting produce after each one of those classes, coming from some grocery stores. We have trips that we do. I try to do a trip once a month. We do 4 dances a year. We have a Valentine's dance in February. We just had a dance yesterday. It's called the Spring Dance, and all of our dances, by the way, are from 1 to 4. We have a DJ, and the people have a lot of fun. And then we will have, the next dance will be in August. It's called the Luau Dance. And then the last dance is in December. It's called the Holiday Dance. I have some of our senior sources here. Oops, excuse me. I have some of our senior sources here if you want one. This one is for April, May, and June. They come out quarterly. And the upcoming trips, the trip in May is going to be to downtown Disney. We have a 55-seat bus that picks us up here. Regular bus that you would go on any other trip. We don't go, by the way, to any casino, so before you ask, we don't do that. These are daytime trips. We usually leave around 9 o'clock and we come back by 3:30 or so that some of the seniors who need to catch the bus home can catch the bus. We have transportation. Gardena supports us. So with Gardena Transportation, they transport residents from Gardena and Hawthorne, and they go all the way south as far as Hawthorne Memorial Hospital, and they even go to Kaiser in Harbor City. But that's the only place they go in Harbor City. Rest of it's Redondo Beach, Torrance, Gardena, Lawndale, and here in Hawthorne. Inglewood also supports if you're a Hawthorne senior. They'll pick you up and they'll go to Hawthorne, Inglewood, Lenox, and Ladera. So those are the 2 transportations we have. I think that Inglewood charges anyone who signs a Hawthorne resident, Inglewood resident, Lenox resident, or Ladera resident $5 a month. And for Gardena Transportation, if you each time you get on the bus, it's 75 cents. But if you're a Hawthorne resident, you can get tokens from the front for 50 cents, and Hawthorne pays the other 25 cents. So as long as you have a token, you get on the bus and you use a token each way. So back to the trips coming up right quick. Downtown Disney in May. In June, we're going to see King Tut and the IMAX presentation of Mysteries of Egypt. And then in July, we're going to the Skirball. August, I haven't planned a trip yet. September is the LA County Fair. And Long Beach Aquarium in October. And then we're going to City Walk at Universal in November. So those are the trips that we take. You just have to come and sign up at the Senior Center, have to fill out a release form, then whatever the charge is. And most all the charges are under $5, except for King Tut, because it costs so much to get in. It's a $31 trip for the museum and the exhibit. I have some brochures. I'm going to sit them on the table over here, so you can help yourself to one if you'd like. And once again, I just want to really impress upon you that as a senior over 50 years old, for us, we're 50. Some of the senior centers are 55. You might run into one that says 60. I don't know. We take them at 50. Take you guys at 50. But you can go to any, if you want to go to Palos Verdes to a senior center, you can go there. You don't have to go to the senior center in your city. But if you have neighbors, for instance, that you know are older and they're sitting at home all day watching TV doing nothing, tell them about coming to a senior center. There's lots of activities. It's just not for people who sometimes we look at, they can't do nothing else. It's a lot of fun. Just a lot of things to do. We even show movies on Fridays sometimes, a 9-inch screen on the wall, okay? Any questions? My name is Diane Brown. Come visit us anytime you want to. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go on with the afternoon program. The first speaker is going to be Joel Connor from Joel Connor Law. Many of us don't realize as veterans that there are issues that affect veterans having to do with conservancies or with guardianships and all kinds of other issues. Joel is an expert on that, and he also has access to something called the Hub, which I had never heard of before, and it's become an absolutely invaluable tool in helping getting people their benefits on time and resolving problems. Joel Connor.
Hi, good afternoon, and like In-N-Out Burger, I thank all the veterans for their service to the United States. I happen to be one of those guys that was just old enough to not have to register for the draft or to register for just registration. So I didn't have the opportunity to serve. I went on to school and got my pharmacy degree, where I utilize that in my law practice to help veterans and the community with health-related issues where legal needs are also considered. One of the things that many veterans I've found were unaware of, and that is the hubs. These are strategically placed centers around the United States that help you with the benefits and issues that may arise due to the benefits or lack thereof that you have. We work in Los Angeles with the Salt Lake City hub. If you have issues, your checks aren't coming, they cut your fee, cut your benefits, say you're not eligible for something, my office works with them on an almost daily basis, and we are there to help you guys with that. One of the big issues that many veterans face every day is issues with mental illness, whether it's PTSD, bipolar disorders, or more significant psychopathic issues. Having a medical background, I'm able to help you understand what's going on with your loved one or with your own well-being. We help you make sure that you make appropriate plans for yourself while you have the capacity to do so. If you need or have issues that arise with the hub and you feel like you're not getting anywhere with them, please stop and pick up a card. We're the second table right inside the exhibitor's office or a room, and we will be happy to help you resolve these issues. Finally, if you live in the state of California and you own real estate, you must consider getting a complete and thorough evaluation by a legal attorney. Whether it's me or somebody you know in your community, go and talk to them. There are 4 main documents that you create in an estate plan. If you own real estate, you want a living trust. A living trust is a document that keeps all of your issues after your death out of the probate courts and out of the public view. You can pick people to manage your assets and distribute them according to your needs and wants. The next document that you want to have is a will. Call them last will and testament. With that document, you cover your estate with a pour-over will, which literally means you're pouring anything that you accidentally forgot or you just recently bought from your personal estate into the estate of the trust. It avoids probate, it avoids fees, including attorney's fees, by setting those two documents up. In the event of disability, and this is a statistic that I think many people don't know about and don't consider, in the United States, the death rate is 0.8%. So at any given instant, 0.8% of the population is passing away. However, in those same exact instances, 30% of us are disabled to such a degree that our lives are no longer what they were before. When that occurs, if you don't have these other two documents in place, you run the risk of having your wishes taken away from you. So you need to have the durable power of attorney for asset management. That allows somebody to come in and pay your bills, pay your mortgage, make sure the dogs get fed, make sure that your car gets serviced. And the other one that's very important is an advanced healthcare directive. That is a document that in California we call it an advanced healthcare directive. In other places, including on the internet, you may see it as a durable power of attorney for healthcare. They're the same thing. Many of you veterans do a directive when you go to the VA, and they have that there so that they know what you wish to have occur in the event that you cannot tell them. However, if you have a heart attack and you're not close to the VA and you end up at another hospital, you have no guarantee that those staff at that other emergency hospital are going to know what you want or need to have done. So it's important to have both the information at the VA, but also to have an advanced healthcare directive that you can use outside of the VA system. The last thing I want to touch on is your pets. Many of us have pets that need to be cared for, that have, as mine have, grown accustomed to a very special lifestyle that I wish I could afford for myself, but they live well. And what we don't understand is if we are disabled, about 50% of the pets that end up in a shelter are there because their owners can no longer take care of them. Whether it's a disability, whether it's a divorce, whether it's temporarily being incapacitated due to therapies that you have to have or hospitalizations that you have to have. So in California, we have an opportunity to actually leave things to our pets. The pets don't actually decide this or take care of it, but you can set aside assets for the care of those animals while you're disabled or when you pass away. This allows at least a transition period and a clear path so that those pets don't end up in the shelters. So if you would like to hear more about this, I want to keep it short so you guys aren't here all day. Please stop by our table and I'd be happy to talk to you at that time. If not, we've got brochures and information that you can just pick up and take and read at your leisure. Thank you.
Our next presentation is going to be on the UCLA and VA family or Veteran Family Wellness Center. And we have as our speaker Tess Banco, who is the executive director. And she is also a veteran. She was a Marine, is a Marine. From what you keep telling me, they're always Marines. Come on up, Tess.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's quite an honor. We have a vibrant, wonderful veterans community in Los Angeles, including the city of Hawthorne. That's multi-layered, so there's a lot of partnership and there's a lot of really great organizations that you guys have heard about and this morning and this afternoon working together. It was a fantastic introduction from Kyle. So I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I myself was injured during my time in service, and it cut what I thought was going to be my military career short. And from there, I kind of had to chart another path, and that happened to be social work and public administration. So working to help other people, and then also working with the systems that serve other people. Most notably, for me, my community of choice and where my heart is, the veterans community. So anyhow, I serve as executive director of the UCLA VA Veteran Family Wellness Center, which is a new partnership between UCLA and the VA Greater Los Angeles Healthcare System. So try saying that 3 times fast. The center offers for the first time in the VA system care not only for individual veterans, but also for their family members and their children, which I think is pretty phenomenal based on the fact that the VA traditionally serves only the veteran who is VA benefits rated, and then also caregivers in certain circumstances, which I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I hope that caregivers of all eras get included in VA benefits soon. So the Wellness Center is based on something called FOCUS, which is Families Overcoming Under Stress. And so this model was piloted between UCLA and Harvard University by some pretty amazing neuroscientists and psychologists. And what it is a program that incorporates different aspects of holistic wellness, mindfulness. There's developmental guidance and education. There are resilience-based skills. And we use a narrative timeline, so it allows the families, including children, significant others, couples, basically anyone that a veteran calls a family member can come in. And it allows them to look at things, eras in time or life events, same life event, different perspective. So I'm pretty sure most of us have seen the movie Crash, which is a really good example of this because everyone involved had seen the same thing but from different perspectives. And that's really, kind of what life's all about. Everyone's got a different perspective. So specifically with respect to the military and veteran community, there are a lot of issues that we face, post-traumatic stress, military sexual trauma. There is a high rate, as you know, of suicide. I myself personally was assaulted in the military, so that's where my post-traumatic stress came from. And then I was married and my husband died by suicide. So having that knowledge is very valuable to be able to bring back to the community and help other people who might be suffering. So those are key points, in directing the center. There are certain areas that require focus and support. And so I'm really proud to be part of a center that allows me to be able to help to build out programming, being a veteran and knowing kind of what the need is. So anyhow, focus is offered in different formats. One of those is 6 to 8 sessions of what we call resilience-based wellness training. Another format of that is groups. There are workshops that we do. And we are actually connected to the VA's Holistic Wellness Center on the West Los Angeles VA campus, which is something that a lot of veterans, it's kind of like the best kept secret of the West LA campus. Because you can go in on the first floor if you have VA benefits and you can get things like acupuncture, which proudly displaying my acupuncture needles from the service room over there, so I highly recommend you stop by and get some acupuncture and massage. Reiki, there's Tai Chi, there's a drum circle, there's a choir that practices out back, there's a lovely garden, really relaxing. So we're really happy to be part of the center and to be able to not only support the individual veteran, but also support the family members and children. So I don't want to drone on about the services that we offer. I just want to say thank you for having me. I really highly value, personally, like I said, just based on my story, the fact that there are alternate ways to healing. So you have psychodynamic therapy and you have medication, which are great. Everything has its place, but if you're like myself, you were looking for a way to heal. Post-traumatic stress is no joke. So it just can come out of nowhere. That's one of the most insidious things about PTSD is the fact that sometimes it takes years, decades to come out, even, especially in the case of the Vietnam veterans who didn't receive their proper welcome home, and then the mission was also, largely combat, it's really important to offer alternative ways of healing because there's no one path to that. So anyhow, come by and see us. We have one central intake coordinator. She's a family services coordinator, also a Marine Corps veteran, which is exciting to me. And then we have a OEF, OIF combat veteran on our staff. He actually was given the Purple Heart, so here in the Purple Heart. And that's important to us too, you know, understanding and knowing the culture. So everybody that comes in to work in the center from UCLA or anywhere else is trained in military culture. And if you know, you would like to learn some more about that, there's an organization called Psych Armor, which is fantastic. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but you can go online and get free courses in you know, military culture, caregiver support. There's a new Elizabeth Dole Foundation aspect to that where you can get certified for caregiver support, and then also self-care, which is a really important aspect, not only in our community as veterans, but you know, as caregivers. So I know a lot of us have the tendency to want to help other people, but you can't draw from a well that you're not replenishing for yourself. So anyhow, thanks for listening. Again, Tess Banco, Veteran Family Wellness Center, and if you'd like an appointment, we're actually in the next room over. We have a sign-up sheet, and we're in building 220 on the West Los Angeles VA campus. Stop by if you've never been to the campus, because it's absolutely fantastic. 388 acres of land that are dedicated to veterans healthcare and housing. So they're building 1,200 units of permanent supportive housing on the campus. So it's a really exciting place to be in advance of the need for programming and services. So anyway, thank you.
Our next speaker is going to be Mike McGuire, and he is the coordinator from USC for a group called the Veterans Collaborative, the USC LA Veterans Collaborative. Mr. Mike McGuire.
So my name is Mike McGuire. I am with the Suzanne Dork Peck School of Social Work at USC. Thank you very much. So I'm here to speak a little bit about the Los Angeles Veterans Collaborative. And as previously mentioned, it is open to everybody. Anyone can attend and get involved. It is a monthly meeting of a collection of our community stakeholders. That includes our veteran service organizations, such as US Vets, our community politicians, and also different various nonprofits, all working together for our veterans within Los Angeles County. We meet once a month at the California Endowment in downtown Los Angeles, and we would love to have any and all that would love to be involved. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the collaborative, and I'm also going to give you an example of this collaboration in action. Oh, let's see if this works. No. Yep. This is why we can't have anything nice. Come on up, Amy. Thank you very much for assisting. So our purpose, the Los Angeles Veterans Collaborative, is a structure of public, private, and government agencies working together to reduce suffering and improve the lives of veterans and military families in Los Angeles County. So we have this idea of a collective impact. Is that when we're all working together towards the same goal, we can be more effective than our individual efforts if we come together and collaborate. So, but what I'd like to also note is that we're driven by our research. The research that the Center for Innovation and Research on Veterans and Military Families at the Suzanne Dork Peck School of Social Work, we have our State of the American Veterans Study. And I'd like to highlight our Los Angeles Veterans Study because there's some great information of exactly what is the veteran experience? What is your veteran here in Los Angeles County? What are the struggles and experiences that they are having? And so we do that research, and that could guide our efforts toward assisting the veterans. This is a little bit more background about the Los Angeles Veterans Orientation, founded in 2012 and eventually made its way over to USC. We form working groups that focus on individual areas, and these are some of the examples. The one I'm going to talk a little bit more about is our Career Advancement Working Group. We go ahead to the next slide. So we have isolated impact, and we saw we're all not going in different directions. And there's collaboration, and that's what we aspire to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Los Angeles Veterans Study, the State of the American Veterans Study that we've done. And 50% were before the sample population that we took out, 50% served prior to September 11th, 38 afterwards, and 12 did not specify. Go ahead to the next one. So this is some information on the job prospects. Approximately 8 in 10 service members leave the military without a job. And this is the median income. So through our Career Advancement Working Group, we're currently working on this idea of a collective approach, and where we got 6 different organizations to come together and develop this internal referral system to have more impact on our veterans, of which US Vets is definitely a leader of, and you'll hear from Maggie right after me. So this is the Veterans Employment Strategy, and so these partners are coming together for a common goal, and where they each are experts in the field of assisting veterans and getting them employed, they're going to come together so that it could be more effective and having that collaborated approach towards it. I'd also like to mention our Los Angeles Veterans Orientation. Well, this is another event that we host that veterans come to Los Angeles. We have 12,000 coming here every year. Some of them are returning home after their successful tours in our United States military. Others are moving to Los Angeles for the first time. And of course, we all need a network. We all need a professional network, and for career development, that is absolutely a necessity. So the Los Angeles Veterans Orientation, we established this. It's a quarterly networking and peer engagement group that meets together. We give them some information about the resources, and they're able to network with their peers in greater Los Angeles. There are veterans in every industry throughout LA, in finance and entertainment, in any potential sector, and so we want to get them together to start developing that network, and that's something we're doing through the Los Angeles Veterans Orientation. So the role of the community, of course, the collaborative wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the community. The different nonprofits and veteran service organizations and community leaders that come together in order to achieve this collective impact. And we wouldn't exist without them or without you, those of us in the room here. Also, I'd like to mention is that we would like to thank our sponsors and the business community. We're actively looking for mentorships for our veterans, and we try to achieve that through our corporate sponsors, including not only their support for our collaboratives, such as US Bank, which is representative here today. They've gone ahead and stepped up, and they'll be sponsoring our May collaborative, so we'd like to extend our thank you for them. Otherwise, this is how you connect with us, and of course, if there are any questions, feel free to reach me afterwards. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is going to be from US Vets and the Women Veterans Initiatives, and it's Christine Stanley. And I believe Maggie Cutler is coming up as well.
My name is Christine. I served 24 years in the Air Force. I've been retired for about 6 years here in LA. I transitioned like most veterans. I didn't know where to go or how to ask for support or even what was available. So I spent a lot of time sitting on my couch, making sure it didn't go anywhere. I was fortunate enough to stumble into an opportunity with the Mission Continues that offered me an opportunity to transition more successfully. I've worked through a couple nonprofits since I've been here, and most recently I've joined US Vets to help develop their newest program called Women Vets on Point. So basically what we're doing is creating a portal to connect women veterans and their families to mental health here in Los Angeles. I'm going to go through my slide deck pretty quick, and then I'm going to have a little discussion along the way. So what we've realized is women veterans or women who have served are more likely to be successful at suicide, and there's various reasons for that. But that's super important, and that's one of the missions, or suicide prevention is one of the topics that we're definitely looking at with this program. Next, please. If you didn't know, US Vets also has supportive housing, and this is a statement from one of the women that's come through the program. I'm going to read the slide just because the statement is very impactful. She said I should not be standing here today, or tonight, telling my story. I was near death when the VA referral to US Vets 23 months ago. I was homeless as a direct result of my substance abuse. Staff informed me I needed a blood transfusion or I would die. My state of mind and outcome on life at that time was so hopeless. I told them, let me die. Thankfully, the man upstairs had another plan, and that was from Sandra. So this isn't an unusual statement. This is very common in the community for women who have served. Next slide. So with the portal, which we hope to launch the end of May, which is very, very soon here, and we're gonna help women understand that we can promote mental health awareness, and that we're gonna mobilize that through engagement through the community outreach, and then we're gonna deliver information that's from providers that have already been vetted and that are very much culturally aware and willing and ready to help them. Next, please. This is just a little, like how we have to have a chart on a slide. So this is how it looks in a visual format. We're gonna outreach, educate, and engage, and then screen, and then we're actually gonna add a piece onto this called follow-up. So once the woman's engaged with us in the portal, we're gonna offer services and support, and then we're gonna follow up with her and her family to make sure that that was the best referral for her, and then if it wasn't, we're gonna help her find something else. I know this is a very wordy, ugly slide, but I did it on purpose. The VA did a report about a year ago, and this is the list of the barriers that women have identified why they don't seek care or go to the VA. It's a huge list, and it's color-coded based on how the portal will help them get through the barriers and on to better support. So the blue is the education piece through the portal, green is outreach, orange is engagement, and black is all of the above. So we've actually been able to identify how we can resolve these with the portal. Next, please. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to be able to access it through your phone and also on the computer. And there should be a magic slide and it does stuff. Next. Isn't that awesome? And then we're going to increase, hopefully, their help-seeking behavior to actually address their mental health needs. Next, please. So we're obviously going to help women who've served. And there's also trifold how the portal is going to work. So it's for women and their families to connect to services. It's also for community partners that support women veterans to have a starting point. If you're working with a woman that comes in and you don't know where to go look for resources, you can get on the portal and you can navigate her through housing or employment or food and daycare. Like, we'll have items for support for those areas. And then it's also for mental health providers. So if you're a mental health provider and you're in the community and you're working with women veterans, or you would like to, we're also going to train our providers on the program that Tess mentioned with Psych Armors. It's a very active, interactive program. It's really incredible how they've modeled these little video snippets to help individuals that aren't prior service work with service members. So we'll have that available. Next, please. So again, we're just bringing together the family members, the community, and then what women to do. So we're hoping if we can all get together and have the same conversation, that we'll all become well and happy. Next, please. And these are just, of course, outcomes. So we're just it's a pilot program for Los Angeles County. So what we're doing is looking to track the information about how many women used the portal, what they were looking for, how it was successful, if the services we connected with them were beneficial and made a difference in their life. And we're gonna use that to create models to expand the program nationwide. Next, please. Just to mention, we're partnered with EDC, it's an education development company, and they're on the East Coast, and this is their niche in life is to help other agencies with their projects in suicide prevention. And I think that's it. Thank you. So I have these little flyers. I'm actually going to hand them out right now. I also have some on our table next door, and my business card is there as well. So if you have any lady vets that you know of, you would like them to have more information, this is where they can start. I'm also, if you know any licensed clinical social workers that are looking for a job, I'm hiring, and we should be up and fully functioning by the 1st of June. So thank you, and next is Maggie.
Thank you, Christine. Amazing new program. Definitely share it with any female veterans that you guys know. So how many people here have heard of US Vets? Everyone, predominantly everyone. How many people here have heard of US Vets Career Network? Okay, a good group. So my name is Maggie. I am not a veteran myself, but my parents are both retired Army officers, lifers. And I have lived as an Army brat my whole life. And after finishing my master's degree in social work, I did a concentration in working with military and veterans. And I started working for US Vets Career Network 2 years ago. So I lead the Los Angeles effort of this program, and I wanted to come here today just to spread the word about what we do, because my team has been doing amazing stuff, and every single, I kid you not, 100%, every single veteran I work with tells me, I wish I knew about this sooner. I wish I knew. And they go and tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, which is wonderful. But I wanted to come here today and tell you a little bit more about what we do, and hopefully you can tell your friends, and they can tell their friends, and then we can help more veterans get great jobs. Next slide. So about the US Vets Initiative. We are the largest 501c3 nonprofit that focuses on veteran services in the US. And we have 14 sites nationwide with a number of different programs covering mental health, housing, female veterans, as well as career development. So the Career Development Initiative is what US Vets Career Network was born out of. And it is an employment program specifically for veterans to find high-paying, lasting careers. And it is a privately funded program, so we are not a government-funded program at all. If anyone is familiar with Call of Duty, the video game, they're our main funder, along with Boeing, Verizon, and a handful of smaller foundations. But what that means is that we are funded through private company money, not government grants. So when we work with someone, we probably have to fill out one piece of paper instead of 20 or 30 pieces of paper, which is great for us because we get to work a lot faster and be more creative. And it's great for our clients because they don't have to fill out so much stuff to get services. So we were established in 2012. We're fairly new through a number of grants, which I already mentioned. And in 2013, we were the recipient of the Call of Duty Endowment, which is the Call of Duty Foundation's seal of distinction, which means an auditor came in, they checked all of our files, all of our services, where we were spending money, what we were doing, if we were saying what we were doing, all that stuff, and they decided that we were doing a fantastic job, so we were awarded that. And I like to bring that forward to a lot of veterans because I think sometimes the veterans that I work with tell me they've kind of had a negative experience with employment programs in the past. I think pretty much every veteran I've met with has had one or at least one experience with a program that doesn't really say what it's doing, but we actually are practicing what we're preaching, which I always like to point out to people when I go out in the community and tell them about this program. And our target veteran population. So we do not specify one population that we have to work with. We work across diverse populations, different eras of veteran. Although our focus is post 9/11 veterans, we still work with other generations of veterans as well. And we focus on veterans that are transitioning. So what that means, what does that word transitioning mean? Transitioning means just entering into a new stage in their life. So transitioning out of college, transitioning into LA from out of state, transitioning out of the service directly and looking for employment in the civilian sector, and just transitioning into a new job as well. So very broad spectrum requirements to work in our program. If you're a veteran that's honorably discharged, we can work with you. And so about what we do, we are peer-to-peer. So what that means is all of our staff are either veterans themselves or family members of veterans or spouses of veterans. So we're all acutely aware of the challenges associated with veteran culture. We also focus on STEM-based employment, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And we focus on career placement and retention. So the process for us when we work with our clients, we're not like a staffing company, we're not like a placement agency. We really put a holistic method into what we do with our clients for one-on-one career coaching, employment development plans, strategic trainings, and exposure to employers, and then retention as well. So all of our clients, once they find employment, they don't get to get rid of us that easily. We actually follow up with them for an entire year afterwards. So in case they are not happy with their job or something happens and they have to leave their job, we're still able to support them through that process. This is our local CDI team. Myself, our national coordinator, and Shanice Sims Robinson, she was walking around here earlier as well, and Brian Witten. So a little bit more about what we do. So we provide assistance along every step of the process. We do resume editing, LinkedIn events to expose our clients to more employment opportunities, and we also do supportive services. So what that means is if you get a job that requires a specific tool or a uniform that you can't afford, we can pay for that for you. We're privately funded again, which means I just have a company credit card that I get to use. It's really great. We can be really flexible with what we can do. An example is I had a client who had TBI, and he became a nurse at Cedars-Sinai. But because of his combat-related injury, he could not use a stethoscope, a normal stethoscope, because his hearing was damaged. So we were able to buy him a $300 super high-tech sensitive stethoscope so he could go to work, which I think was really great. Yes, he got a good job as a nurse, but he hadn't started working yet. And so $300 can really mean, the difference between paying bills or having to pay for this special thing for your job. It just helps the process and helps ease that transition into new employment as well. We also do transportation assistance. And so just a little pictorial of what we do from beginning to end. We work with the client, we take them in, do an assessment and employment development plan. We look at their job interests, what industry they want to get into, if they have the related skills or training or experience in that industry. Once we take that on, that full assessment, then we go into preparation. So that's the resume writing, the interview practicing as well. We do soft skills coaching, which is something that I think a lot of job seekers don't put enough time into, is the soft skills coaching. Also training and certifications and marketability in your field. Once we feel like you are prepared, we go into employer placement and exposure. So we do that through different networking events, employer open houses, warm referrals. Once an applicant applies online, say you're interested in a specific position at one of our corporate partners, you can apply online and then we'll reach out directly to the recruiter on your behalf and send them your resume. So you kind of get to bypass the applicant tracking system and get connected directly to a human, which is really huge for a lot of veterans that are kind of exhausted of applying into that black hole and never hearing anything back. And then we do retention. So once you do find the job and you're happy and you start working, we follow up with you, make sure everything's okay, check in, provide support where we can throughout that 1 year post-placement as well. So these are our outcomes, 2016. This is a little dated, so I'll actually give you our 2017 outcomes. So 590 veterans have been placed into employment through our network. Approximately the average starting salary of those veterans was $48,000, so we focused really on high-paying salaries. Most, I would say, there were about 10 or 15 people that I worked with personally that actually ended up getting six-figure salaries as well. So we really focus on high-paying, no minimum wage, no temporary employment. We are really focusing on careers for our clients. And then we also had a 92% retention rate. So 92% of our clients were still in their job a year later. And 67% were STEM employment. So about a little more than half were in STEM. And our expansion. So I work in the Los Angeles office, but we also have 4 other locations: Phoenix, Arizona, Barbers Point, Hawaii, Houston, Texas, and Washington, D.C. So we work really closely with our national programs and our other sites. So we have actually assisted veterans in getting jobs in other states and vice versa. So they'll refer a veteran who's in a different state that wants to work in LA, and we help them. And if we have a veteran who wants to move out of state to, say, Houston to work somewhere, we assist them in getting transitioned into our site there as well. And strategic partnerships. So a large part of our program is creating strategic partnerships with different employers. We've made over 250 strategic employer partnerships since I started in my job. That was actually my role, was creating strategic partnerships with employers. And we have created a pipeline into large and small companies for our veteran clients to get employment. We also follow up with our employers and track the hires to make sure that every employer that we work with, when they come to us to work with us and hire veterans, they're always saying, we want to hire veterans, we will give them promotional opportunities, we will, give them raises after the first 90 days, we want to retain them. They say all of these things and they utilize us as a way to source veteran candidates. What we do is we follow up with every veteran that gets placed at a company and we ask them, Have you gotten a raise in this first year? Have you gotten any promotional opportunities in this first year? To keep the assessment of our employers as well honest in what they're saying about their veteran hiring initiatives. So we really seek out real, sincere, genuine companies that really do want to hire veteran talent and retain veteran talent. And so what we do when we create our partnerships with our employers is we communicate the veteran advantage. So we communicate to them and educate them on what the advantages of our hiring for veterans. So we talk to them about transferable skills. We talk to them about work ethic, about perseverance, adaptability, all of these things that yourselves as veterans have naturally in your experience in working in a veteran culture, right? Coming out of the military. We also, talk about, the reason they should use veterans as natural leaders. A lot of our veteran clients go on to become, leaders in their companies. They usually actually come back to us if they're in a position of like human resources or leadership in their company to continue to hire veterans through us. We do that. We actually see that a lot in a lot of our companies that we work with too. And so why partner with us? As a client or as a nonprofit agency or as providing outreach to other veterans for us, why utilize us as a resource for veterans for career placement? We really focus on career placement and professional development, long-term goals, not just short-term. We make sure the veteran is actually the best fit for a position. So like I said, it's very holistic. We're all career coaches. We don't do just placement, short-term, job opportunities, nothing like that. It's all career placement. And we also, work directly with hiring managers and companies. So it's kind of like they say 80% of people get a job through someone they know. Well, we are the people that you know now that can get you into a company in a job that you love, that ideally you'll be in for the next 5 or 10 years. So thank you so much. If you know of any veterans that are seeking employment, are underemployed, like a lot of reservists, and are looking for a change of pace, a better career, a more lasting career, a higher paying career, we have a website. It's just our name, usvetscareernetwork.com, and you can look at our success stories, our services. We have a calendar of events, which is open to the public, as well as our online registration form. So if any veteran is interested in registering with us, they do fill out the registration form online, and then within 2 weeks, they will be contacted by a veteran talent specialist to follow up with them. Thank you so much.
We have one last speaker today, and so I'm going to ask the representatives from the American Red Cross to please come on up.
Hi everyone, thanks for sticking around. We're having technical difficulties, so we're gonna do the presentation without the physical PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit about what the Red Cross does for our Service to the Armed Forces program. So I know many of us, when we think of the American Red Cross, we think, disaster services, blood drives, but we were actually congressionally chartered in 1900 to provide service to the armed forces. So the Red Cross mission is the American Red Cross prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. And this power of donors and the generosity of our volunteers, this also extends to the armed forces. So I'm going to read you some numbers now about how the Red Cross's work impacts lives every day. Every 60 seconds, 53 people are assisted by the American Red Cross. 190 times a day, the Red Cross workers help a family affected by a home fire or a disaster. And 1,000 times a day, we provide services to military members, veterans, and their families. So our Service to the Armed Forces program provides a continuum of care. So from the day that you enlist in the military and for the rest of your life, the Red Cross is there for you. So for more than 130 years, the American Red Cross has provided comfort and support to members of the United States military. As I said earlier, we're chartered by the U.S. Congress to provide emergency communications and other support to members of our U.S. military. Our reach is global as well as local. We have people stationed at bases around the world. We have people stationed at Red Cross offices throughout regions throughout the country. So we're a resource for active duty military and veterans as well as members of their family. So we are there from day one, and we provide critical services, starting from that point forward to every member of the U.S. military and their families. So it really starts with enlistment. So I go over to the Military Entrance Processing Center here in El Segundo, and I pick up a stack of cards every couple of weeks that members of the military fill out as soon as they enlist, and that has their family contact information. And we give calls to those families every day, and we let them know the Red Cross is here for them. We do briefings at MEP centers. We're often the last people that speak to families of military members before they go off. And we pretty much just let them know how to contact the Red Cross when there's an emergency, what we can do for them, and the services that we provide. We offer coping with deployments workshops, before your family member deploys, how to remain, calm in the time of stress, how to communicate clearly. We work with a lot of children and teach them, how to cope, if you're stressed out, breathing techniques, or how to recognize your emotions on a scale from red to green, or from frowny face to smiley face. So we work with the children, we work with the parents, and we help them communicate more clearly together. We do get to know us before you need us briefings, because we don't want people to learn about the American Red Cross after the disaster or during the disaster. We want them to know ahead of time. So the emergency service, the most common service that we provide is an emergency communication. So when your family member is stationed somewhere, serving, and there's an emergency on the home front, the Red Cross, our charter lets us communicate with the commanding officer of that active duty military person, and we are able to provide a message from the family and help the family member either come home to be with the family for a funeral, for an illness, for maybe a birth. So we are really able to help provide an emergency communication when there's no other form of communication. We can provide resources for financial aid to bring your family member home. And we follow up with them to see if the family needs any referrals for therapy or counseling or financial assistance. So that's probably the biggest service that we do, and that's why we like to educate family members about our services, so that if there is ever an emergency at home, the Red Cross can help your loved ones come back and be there for you in your time of need. We also have Red Cross volunteers stationed at different military bases around the world. They're often there to just provide support and help boost morale. For example, in a lot of places we have pet therapy. So, at military bases, Red Cross volunteers can come in with therapy dogs and just be there to boost everyone's spirits. We do CPR first aid classes, at different military bases. So we like to be there, in kind of every facet of life for people. Along the continuum of care, is life after the military. So every week, we at the Red Cross go over to the West LA VA. We walk around room to room, thanking veterans for their service, bringing them comfort items such as toothbrushes and lotion and soap, and just the little things that they often forget to bring when they go to the hospital, because it's often last minute, you don't really prepare. And we also just, talk to them, because a lot of times people lack companionship, they lack friendship, they lack an ear to just talk about their stories and reminisce on their time in the service. So we've got to hear some incredible stories, but just most importantly, we thank them for their service, and we let them know, we're here for you, and thank you for what you did for our country. So as I kind of shared with you, we start from the day that you enlist and then all the way further through the continuum of care. And so whenever you think of the Red Cross now, I hope you think of what we do for the U.S. military, and for all the veterans in the room, thank you so much for your service. Thanks for having us.
Okay, folks, we're in the final stretch, but we have one additional important presentation. We are very, very fortunate. Congresswoman Waters was not able to attend today, but she called her staff and got them here at the last moment. So I would like to introduce Blanca Jimenez, who is the District Director for Congresswoman Maxine Waters, the California 43rd District. We also have Hamilton Cloud, who is the Special Projects Director for Congresswoman Waters' office, and Tiana Walker, who you've already met when she did the presentations with the Vietnam veteran pins. They have some additional information. We'll be very brief, and we're a little ahead of schedule anyway, so please take it away.
Thank you, Kyle. And good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say on behalf of Congresswoman Maxine Waters that we appreciate the work of all of the Veterans Affairs Commissioners for the City of Hawthorne, and obviously for everyone coming out today. It is the most important thing that a public servant, elected representative could do, is to be of service to veterans who have served us. So on behalf of the Congresswoman, we thank you first of all for your service, and if there's anything we could do to assist you, please let us know. Again, Mrs. Walker was here for the pinning ceremony. One of the things we do want to mention is obviously some of the benefits that are available to veterans that sometimes doesn't get out enough into the community to know that certain things are available. So she's more of an expert in that than I am, so I will let her just kind of mention a couple things so that you know, and feel free to contact our office for any of this literature. We have also some guides that we can make available too, I believe from the California Veterans Affairs. I believe there are these nice little resource handouts that the VA used to do, I think, back in the day, but no longer does them as much anymore, which is unfortunate. But any resource that we have, we always want to make it available to the community. So if someone's not a veteran, if they're a family member of a veteran or a friend of a veteran or a neighbor of a veteran, we want to make sure that they know what is available to them. So again, we thank the commission for putting this event on. I think there needs to be more of them, and we'll always be here to support, and for sure the Congresswoman will be at the next one. Thank you.
Good afternoon, vets. Welcome home. I'm Congresswoman Waters' Special Events Director, and if I can just trouble you one more time this afternoon, I'm going to station myself by the exit, and even though Congresswoman Waters couldn't be here with us today, she would like to send each of you a really nice proclamation to put on your wall at home, thanking you for your service. And so I'm going to station myself over there to get your name, your rank, your branch, and your mailing address so that we can follow up and send that to you to add to your pin and your proclamation from the President. So thank you very much.
It's me again. Thank you guys again for your service. We really, really appreciate it on behalf of Congresswoman Maxine Waters' office. I won't take up your time. I just wanted to let you guys know I am her VA caseworker. So any of you who are having problems getting service-connected benefits or any other issues with the VA, give us a call. I wanted to make you aware of a program that not many veterans know about. It's called the IU program, or Individual Unemployability. So if you are at least 60% service connected, there's a program that will allow the VA to pay you at 100%. Our current president is trying to take funds away from this program. So if you're interested in finding out more information, you can see me. I also have a box of CalVet resource books. I know they don't make them available everywhere. See me, I have them in my car. You can take one or two. I also have leaflets for you to read about the IU program and see if you qualify, and also to pass on to a comrade that you know might need one or might need that information. So again, thank you for inviting us, and thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
Everyone was so efficient today that we've actually finished about 45 minutes early. So I would suggest, if you have not been down the hall yet to have a massage or acupuncture or the other modalities that they're doing down there, please go down to the end of the hall, last door on the right, because you will feel a whole lot better after sitting in these chairs for all these hours. Thank you so very, very much for coming. Hang on.
Don't you have one presenter left from Vietnam veterans?
We actually did that a little bit. Yeah, we did. Are you a Vietnam vet?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Because they got their pins
Okay.
and all that. So not a problem. We just mixed that up. One other thing that I want to be sure that everybody knows to get on your schedule again is November 10th, which is a Saturday. We will be having a big party and dance here to celebrate Veterans Day. I believe it'll be from 7 to 10 and probably in the main room. Thank you so much for coming.